What do you think is the most influential piece of contemporary literature?
The Da Vinci Code, because it was one of the first widely critically acclaimed novels that was actually welcomed the idea of questioning Jesus or what Christianity perceived Jesus to be. And so it kind of put a new age movement on the idea of questioning Christianity or thinking of it as something different entirely than a domineering religion.
I think Catcher in Rye is a really important piece of contemporary literature because it shows how a teenager develops, and I think it's pretty prominent and important today because a lot of us teenagers are going through the same thing.
The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, because it is a piece of literature that has a physical representation of the burden humankind live with.
Okay, I read The Sun Also Rises by Ernest Hemingway. It's important to me because it kind of sheds some light on the greatest generation of like these people after World War I just living their lives in Europe. And why it's important to the world, it kind of serves as a reminder to like the disillusionment that was happening after the First World War.
My favorite book of contemporary literature is Sarah J. Maas's book, A Court of Thorns and Roses, because it shows a society changing its traditions by going from oppressive men to women to more of a feminine society, and then it also shows equality between social classes, so the rich, the poor, the middle is more of equal.
Alright, my favorite book is 1984 because it gave me a new perspective on censorship and government.
The most important piece of contemporary literature to me would have to be the Magic Tree House book series, because it's just a great book series to start with, and they really just always sparked my interest in adventure, traveling the world, being who I am on the inside and outside, just being able to go everywhere and do anything you want if you set your mind to it.
My favorite book is The Glass Castle, just because it's all about tragedy and triumph, and so for me at least, I know that struggles in the past, like, you can get past them, you can move forward, and it doesn't have to base what your past is on. Because, like, if you look at the main character, she's like, honestly, she's clearing the way for herself, and she's screwing everything that her family did, and she's getting it for herself, and so I think that's really cool.
My favorite book is personally The Fault in Our Stars, because I haven't read that many books, but out of the ones that I have read, that one relates to me the most, since I did lose a friend, a very, very close friend, to cancer at the time that I was reading the book. And I feel like people can relate to that, because even though they haven't gone through what I went through or what the movie goes through, I feel like the movie relates to a lot of people in a lot of different certain ways.
So The Awakening by Kate Chopin is one of my favorite books because it's about a woman and her self-discovery, and it was written in 1899, and it was a very, very progressive book for its era to talk about a woman discovering herself and having other thoughts beyond the typical kind of housewife standard that she was expected to fulfill.
A Brave New World, because it shows how knowledge and power can overcome the sense of humanity, and that's pretty prevalent to today.
Okay, so my favorite book or book series would be the Series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket, because when I was a kid, it was the first series I actually got into and actually finished, and there were a lot of books, and I kind of felt this like accomplishment because I had followed the main characters through their journeys, so I guess I was like emotionally invested in the books, and also I just really enjoyed them because although they were aimed at like a younger audience, they didn't feel like they were. I still felt like I was getting involved in like reading a really cool series, and I felt older than I actually was. So it was just really fun to follow and always kept you on your toes, and all the little plot twists from my little elementary school self was really nice. So
the Twilight series, in a way, is similar to the Frankenstein because it's a romantic novel, and it's a journey between the interactions of love and hate between mundane and supernatural beings.
I think the most important piece of contemporary literature was The Great Gatsby, because it highlights the differences in how people were treated based on how they got their money, whether it was inherited or they actually worked for it.
Okay, my favorite piece of modern literature is probably The Book Thief. It takes place in World War II, and I don't know, I just relate a lot to it because my great-grandma lived in Poland at the time, and so she had to deal with that, and getting to read about what was happening at that time was really cool and interesting to me. It felt like I was there and like experiencing it with them. So I don't know, it was just a really good book too.
What do you think is the most...
Did you just check me out?